Hello YouTubers, Paul here, your channel host, What to Be Channel. Well, I'm on to the first week of I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of here! So, episode 2. So, Kate and Caitlin doing the first Bush Tucker trial, which was called Bugged Off. And what they were, they were in two boxes across two wires going across the jungle. And so, they were zigzagging each other, if that makes sense. So, like, Caitlin went across like that, and then they met, and then Kate went across in another box. So they weren't like following each other. And what I had to do was they had to throw balls down into a bucket that was on the jungle floor because they were up a height in the jungle, and they had to throw balls down into a bucket every time they crossed these buckets. They got 2 stars each, and Kate ended up going into main camp. So that was the end of episode 2. Episode 3. All of Snake Rock took part in Bush Tucker trial, which was called Face Your Fears, which was being... Bear with me for 2 minutes and I'll have a look. It was called Face Your Fears. I think they were locked in a box in an underground coffin, if I can remember correctly. I've got my phone here, which is handy to look at. Bear with me for 2 minutes. Face Your Fears, here we go. Yes, it was like the goldfish ball over the celebs' heads, and they had to, let's get this right. I'm just having a look at the notes on Google. That was it. They were in goldfish bowls, literally over the heads, and they had to unscrew stars. James Cracknell had rats in his head, in his goldfish bowl, and he's unscrewed 1 star, and he had rats, yeah. Andrew Maxwell had cockroaches, he unscrewed 1 star. Caitlyn Jenner had snakes and unscrewed 2 stars. Ian Wright, scorpions, unscrewed 1 star. Jacqueline Joss has spiders and managed to get the 2 stars. And then they all went into the main camp. So that was the end of episode 3. Episode 4. Roman and Adele took part in the Bush Tucker trial, which was called Just Desserts, where they had to eat, and they managed 5 courses each. So that was episode 4. Episode 5. There was 2 new celebrities arrived. Andy Wyatt, who plays Kirk in Coronation Street, and Cliff Purissy, who's in Call the Midwife and was in EastEnders as Minty. And they arrived in the old Dingo Town. Let's get this right. I can't remember why I wrote this. The Frontier of Fear. It was Andy was in the General Gore, which was a take on a store, and he got 5 stars. Cliff was in Buffalo Bill's bungalow, where there was an actual buffalo, and he got 3 stars. And then they were taken off to the jungle jailhouse, and Andrew and Kate They got all share of the food. Hang on a minute. Andrew and Kate. Bear with me for 2 minutes, YouTubers. I do apologise. Just reading off Google. Oh, Andrew and Kate also went into the jungle. Into the jungle. We're also in the jungle jailhouse, which was Snake Rock, to get a share of food. That was it. So that was episode 5. Do apologise for my scatterbrain. It's just, as I say, we're into the end of January. This was November, and they're on little prompt cards. Episode 6, Jacqueline and Miles did the bush tucker trial in Old Dingo Town in Snake Hotel. Jacqueline chose Miles to help her. She got 5 stars. Miles got 1 star, I think. Is that right? I'm just trying to remember the notes that I wrote. And then they ended up in the jungle jailhouse. And then James and Caitlin did the Dingo Dollar Challenge, and won $100 and freed Cliff out of the jungle jailhouse, and he joined main camp. Yeah, my notes. Right, episode 7. So main camp competing to win meals and free the outlaws for every 3 stars. So the bush took a trial. It was in the old Dingo. It was in the old. What was it called? Old Dingo Town. There was the pest office, obviously, take on the post office. Adele had a spiny leaf insect in her mouth. Ian, 6 witchetty grubs in his mouth, and Cliff, beach worms in his mouth. Cliff chose to get Kate out. Caitlin, yabby in her mouth. Nadine, cockroaches in her mouth. James had a giant burrowing cockroach in his mouth. And then James chose Jacqueline to come out. Roman, scorpion in his mouth. And then had the chose names out of that when they'd all competed in the games. Ian went again and had a huntsman spider in his mouth. The second round was Eaton. Oh, and James and then the second round was Eaton. James had cow's eyes. James then chose Miles to come out of the jungle jailhouse. Caitlin and Caitlin, I think. I've just wrote Caitlin. I don't know why. Sorry, YouTubers. I'm sorry about rambling on here. Cow's anuses were for Nadine and Adele, and they chose Andrew and Andy out. And then James and Jacqueline became leader and the deputy. So that was episode 7. Episode 8, Jacqueline and Ian did the bush tucker trial called Crevice of Cruelty. What was Crevice of Cruelty? Oh, of course, it was an underground chambers where they were on different levels, but following each other through the levels, and they had to push keys. Ian had to unscrew the keys to pass up to Jacqueline to get the stars. That was it. And they got all 12 stars. Andy, Kate, Miles and Nadine went into a bush on a mission to win 12 care packages from home, and the rest did to do a live trial to win 12 stars for a roast dinner in the Jungle Diner. So Cliff, Adele, James, Roman, Jacqueline, Andrew, Caitlin and Ian were to do the live trial, Jungle Love Island. Round 1 was the Villa Kitchen. Caitlin had fish guts in a pie and she had to get the star with her mouth only. Jacqueline had mealworms in a pie and had to get a star with her mouth. And Ian again, cockroaches in a pie and to get the star with his mouth only. I've never watched Love Island, so I wouldn't even know what the sets are. So, round 2 was swing seat, which was where they had to sit next to each other and get pig's testicles from one bowl to the second bowl with mouths from Cliff, Adele, James to Roman, and all three. They got all three with 6. Is that right? Yeah, I think they had to get 3 pig's testicles and they all did it. Round 3 was croc tub. They were all in a hot tub with baby crocs. It was in a hot tub with baby crocs drinking. Jungle Love Island themed drinks. Andrew drank his. Caitlin drank hers, and Ian drank his. And then round 4 was the day bed, and this was transfer stars from each of the 3 boxes, and from James to Roman, and they failed that task, so they didn't all get to go to the roast dinner. So that was the end of the first week. That was the Sunday night. That was the live trial. So that was the end of the first week. So see you later, YouTubers. And I'm